Alright, something I'd also like to show in Obsidian is this really cool feature where you can basically quickly go to files. So it's all based on the title, but you can press, I think, Control O by default, and then you can essentially find whatever thing you want right here. So like for example, if I wanted to look at my custom voice assistant notes, I could just go to here, and then that's basically my list right there. I was able to pull it up pretty quickly. If I want to go to the checklist, and I could just kind of start typing in whatever for that very quickly, go to the files. And man, when you have a lot of files, that is a really cool way to get around. I started using it a lot more. I find myself bouncing between a lot of files, and I have to say it's a really awesome way to use that. So something I will also mention is, obviously you know that I tend to use Vim in Obsidian, tend to use a Vim plugin, but typically Control O by default allows you to basically navigate between lines, sort of like this. It kind of walks through the lines that you went through in reverse order. So if you're in one place and you go to a whole different area, Control O is how you'd come back to this place pretty quickly. And that kind of interferes with the default Control O right here. I can't get myself used to doing Control P or something instead for this. So what I've done in my Obsidian's Vim RC is I've remapped Control O to Control P. And that's how I did it. Just remap Control P to Control O. And then now, when I press Control P, it does what Control O used to do, which is pretty cool. So, if you don't use that feature in Obsidian, I would highly recommend it. I would also recommend going through some of your keyboard shortcut mappings and remap certain things like the quick open switcher. Make sure that's a decent key that you like. What you can also do is remap some other keys. So for example, I often like to have keyboard shortcuts to control either the active pane or all the other ones besides the active pane. So, for example, I tend to press Control Shift Q to basically focus on the current pane that I'm on. So if I have multiple things open simultaneously and I want to focus on just one thing, then I have this mapped to focus on that thing, and then this kind of closes the thing I'm on. So that may not have entirely made sense, but so I have multiple panes open right now. Let's say I wanted to focus on this one and close everything else. Then I do my Control Shift Q mapping, and then even if I have like 10 panes open, it keeps that one open and closes everything else. I love using that shortcut. I use it all the time. And then other times I may want to close the current one, so that's where that Control Shift W comes into play. I can't tell you how many times I use that since I started mapping those shortcuts. Another shortcut that I tend to use all the time, especially if I have multiple panes open, is I do something like Control Shift left bracket to switch my focus to the left, Control Shift right bracket to go to the right side. So let's say I'm working between these two files, Control Shift left bracket, see I'm in this file, now I'm in this one. Then I want to go back, Control Shift right bracket. I can't tell you how useful that one is too. So yeah, if you want to improve Obsidian and you've been using it, those are some ways I would do it. I'd get used to some of those shortcuts, which is very useful.